As we celebrate the holidays, we are baking up some delicious treats here on Good Morning Quad Cities for our 12 days of Christmas baking edition. It is day 9 out of 12, and today we're going to do my own recipe for what we call ooey gooey brownies. I've made them on the show in the past, but it's been a little bit of time. So let's pull up the ingredients here if we can. So pretty simple recipe. And Andrew was kind enough to make us a QR code that if you scan that with your smartphone, this will take you to all the recipes that we've made so far for this series. So you've got butter, you've got cocoa powder, white sugar, all-purpose flour, vanilla, salt, eggs, and of course, semi-sweet chocolate chips. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your butter and you're gonna microwave it so that it's fully melted, and you're gonna add in your cocoa powder. And you're just gonna mix that up until it is just a easy and all combined. So it'll look like it'll just look really great. You're gonna wanna drink this, but you won't because it's not sweet. That wouldn't be good. So you're gonna mix that all up. Once that's mixed, you can add that to your mixer, okay? And then we're gonna just start adding the rest of the ingredients. So we'll start with the eggs. Of course, you want to crack them in a separate bowl rather than right into the mixer in case you get some shells in there. Great. Okay, so I'm going to pop this bad boy on. I guess it would help if I plugged it in, right, Andrew? All right, so I'm going to mix that all in there. And then we have our 2 cups of sugar. It's a lot of sugar. Okay. So while you're mixing all this stuff, your oven's preheating to 325 degrees. You can really use whatever size baking tray, pan, whatever you'd like. Just keep in mind that the smaller and the thicker the brownie that you're making, the longer it's gonna need to bake. So I'm using a 9 by 13. Add all that in there. Okay. Our vanilla. Let's speed that bad boy up. So these are very chocolatey. So I use, for the most part, the entire bag of chocolate chip morsels. So it's the equivalent of about 2 cups. For the purposes of this recipe that we're showing here today, it's more like 1 3/4 cup. So we just add all that goodness into that until it is all wonderful and combined. If you're using a 9 by 13 pan, it'll take about 35 minutes to bake. So not terribly long at all, and your house is gonna smell wonderful. I did have a suggestion by one of my friends, Adam. He had mentioned maybe take a Christmas cookie cutter and you can make little decorative shapes out of your brownies that way to make them look a little bit more festive. I didn't want to, so I didn't. So then you go ahead, and you can use a greased pan, or just because this one's glass, I just didn't feel like it really needed it. Add that all into your pan here. Making sure you get all that wonderfulness into this. And then you just spread it out. You don't need to cover it or anything like that. Okay. You can already smell the cocoa. It all smells wonderful already. You pop that in the oven for, like I said, about 35 minutes. And then when they're done, you can pull them out of the oven. You can put a little flaky salt on top to make them look a little bit more fancy. And then you're ready to serve. How bad could that be? Here's a look at what's coming up in your Morning Tech Bites.